Hamlet by William Shakespeare. Act I scene I Elsinore, a platform before the castle. For this relief much thanks, 'tis bitter cold and I am sick at heart. Well, good night. If you do meet Horatio and Marcellus, the rivals of my watch, bid them make haste. Oh, farewell, honest soldier, who hath relieved you? Bernardo has my place, give you good night. Exit, say, what, is Horatio there? Horatio says 'tis but our fantasy, and will not let belief take hold of him touching this dreaded sight, twice seen of us. Therefore I have entreated him along with us to watch the minutes of this night, that if again this apparition come, he may approve our eyes and speak to it. Sit down a while, and let us once again assail your ears, that are so fortified against our story what we have 2 nights seen. Well, sit we down, and let us hear Bernardo speak of this. Last night of all, when yon same star that's westward from the pole had made his cost to illume that part of heaven where now it burns, Marcellus and myself, the bell then beating one. What art thou that usurpst this time of night, together with that fair and warlike form in which the majesty of buried Denmark did sometimes march? By heaven I charge thee, speak. How now, Horatio? You tremble and look pale. Is not this something more than fantasy? What think you on't? Before my God, I might not this believe without the sensible and true avouch of mine own eyes, as thou art to thyself. Such was the very armor he had on, when he the ambitious Norway combated. So frowned he once, when, in an angry pall, he smote the sledded Polacs on the ice. 'Tis strange. Thus twice before, and jump at this dead hour, with martial stalk hath he gone by our watch. In what particular thought to work I know not, but in the gross and scope of my opinion, this bodes some strange eruption to our state. Good now, sit down, and tell me, he that knows, why this same strict and most observant watch so nightly toils the subject of the land, and why such daily cost of brazen cannon, and foreign mott for implements of war? Why such impressive shipwrights, whose saw task does not divide the Sunday from the week? What might be toward, that this sweaty haste doth make the night joint laborer with the day? Who is't that can inform me? That can I, at least the whisper goes so. Our lost king, whose image even but now appeared to us, was, as you know, by Fortinbras of Norway, thereto pricked on by a most emulate pride, dared to the combat, in which our valiant Hamlet, for so this side of our known world esteemed him, did slay this Fortinbras, who, by a sealed compact well ratified by law and heraldry, did forfeit, with his life, all those his lands which he stood seized of, to the conqueror, against the which a moiety competent was gauged by our king, which had returned to the inheritance of Fortinbras, had he been vanquisher. As by the same covenant and carriage of the article designed, his fell to Hamlet. Now, sir, young Fortinbras, of unimproved metal hot and full, hath in the skirts of Norway here and there shocked up a list of lawless resolutes, for food and diet, to some enterprise that hath a stomach in't, which is no other, as it doth well appear unto our state, but to recover of us, by strong hand and terms compulsatory, those fossed lands so by his father lost. And this, I take it, is the main motive of our preparations, the sauce of this our watch and the chief head of this post-haste and rummage in the land. I think it be no other, but and so. Well may it sought that this portentous figure comes armed through our watch, so like the king that was, and is the question of these was. A mote it is to trouble the mind's eye. In the most high and palmy state of Rome, a little ere the mightiest Julius fell, the graves stood tenantless, and the sheeted dead did squeak and gibber in the Roman streets, as stars with trains of fire and dews of blood, disasters in the sun, and the moist star upon whose influence Neptune's empire stands was sick almost to doomsday with eclipse, and even the like precurse of fierce events, as harbingers preceding still the fates and prologue to the omen coming on, have heaven and earth together demonstrated unto our climatures and countrymen. But soft, behold! Lo, where it comes again! I'll cross it though it blast me. Stay, illusion. If thou hast any sound or use of voice, speak to me. If there be any good thing to be done, that may to thee do ease and grace to me, speak to me. Cock crows. If thou art privy to thy country's fate, which happily, far-knowing may avoid, oh, speak. Or if thou hast uphodded in thy life extorted treasure in the womb of earth, for which they say, you spirits oft walk in death, speak of it. Stay and speak, stop it, Marcellus. 'Tis gone, exit ghost. We do it wrong, being so majestical to offer it the show of violence, for it is, as the air, invulnerable, and our vein blows malicious mockery. And then it started like a guilty thing upon a fearful summons. I have heard the cock, that is the trumpet to the morn, doth with his lofty and shrill-sounding throat awake the god of day, and at his warning, whether in sea or fire, in earth or air, the extravagant and erring spirit hies to his confine, and of the truth herein this present object made probation. It faded on the crowing of the cock. Some say that ever gainst that season comes wherein our Saviour's birth is celebrated, the bird of dawning singeth all night long. And then, they say, no spirit dare stir abroad. The nights are wholesome, then no planets strike, no fairy takes, nor witch hath power to charm, so hallowed and so gracious is the time. So have I heard and do in part believe it. But look, the morn, in russet mantle clad, walks o'er the dew of yon high eastward hill. Break we our watch up. And by my advice, let us impart what we have seen tonight unto young Hamlet. For upon my life, this spirit, dumb to us, will speak to him. Do you consent we shall acquaint him with it, as needful in our loves, fitting our duty? Let's dot, I pray. And I this morning know where we shall find him most conveniently. Exeunt. Scene room into a room of state in the castle. Though yet of Hamlet our dear brother's death the memory be green, and that it us befitted to bear our hearts in grief and our whole kingdom to be contracted in one brow of woe. Yet so far hath discretion fought with nature that we with wisest sorrow think on him, together with remembrance of ourselves. Therefore our sometime sister, now our queen, the imperial jointress to this warlike state, have we, as twere with a defeated joy, with an auspicious and a dropping eye, with mirth in funeral and with dirge in marriage, in equal scale weighing delight and dole, taken to wife. Nor have we herein barred your better wisdoms, which have freely gone with this affair along. For all, our thanks. Now follows that you know, young Fortinbras, holding a weak supposal of our worth, are thinking by our late dear brother's death our state to be disjoint and out of frame, colleagued with the dream of his advantage, he hath not failed to pester us with message, imparting the surrender of those lands lost by his father, with all bonds of law, to our most valiant brother. So much for him. Now for ourself, and for this time of meeting, thus much the business is. We have here writ to Norway, uncle of young Fortinbras, who, impotent and bedrid, scarcely hears of this his nephew's purpose, to suppress his further gate herein, in that the levies, the lists, and full proportions, are all made out of his subject. And we here dispatch you, good Cornelius, and you, Voltimand, for bearers of this greeting to old Norway, giving to you no further personal power to business with the king, more than the scope of these delated articles allow. Farewell, and let your haste commend your duty. We doubt it nothing. Heartily farewell. Exeunt Voltimand and Cornelius. And now, Laertes, what's the news with you? You told us of some suit. What is't, Laertes? You cannot speak of reason to the Dane and lose your voice. What wouldst thou beg, Laertes, that shall not be my offer, not thy asking? The head is not more native to the heart, the hand more instrumental to the mouth, than is the throne of Denmark to thy father. What wouldst thou have, Laertes? My dread lord, your leave and favour to return to France, from whence though willingly I came to Denmark, to show my duty in your coronation, yet now, I must confess that duty done, my thoughts and wishes bend again toward France and bow them to your gracious leave and pardon. He hath, my lord, wrung from me my slow leave by laboursome petition, and at last upon his will I sealed my hard consent. I do beseech you, give him leave to go. Take thy fair hour, Laertes, time be thine, and thy best graces spend it at thy will. But now, my cousin Hamlet and my son, good Hamlet, cast thy nighted colour off, and let thine eye look like a friend on Denmark. Do not for ever with thy veiled lids seek for thy noble father in the dust. Thou know'st 'tis common, all that lives must die, passing through nature to eternity. If it be, why seems it so particular with thee? Seems, madam? Nay, it is, I know not seems. 'Tis not alone my inky cloak, good mother, nor customary suits of solemn black, nor windy suspiration of fast breath, no, nor the fruitful river in the eye, nor the dejected haviour of the visage, together with all forms, moods, shapes of grief, that can denote me truly. These indeed seem, for they are actions that a man might play, but I have that within which passeth show. These but the trappings and the suits of woe. 'Tis sweet and commendable in your nature, Hamlet, to give these morning duties to your father. But you must know, your father lost a father, that father lost his, and the survivor bound in filial obligation for some term to do obsequious sorrow. But to persevere in obstinate condolement is a cause of impious stubbornness. 'Tis unmanly grief. It shows a will most incorrect to heaven, a heart unfortified, a mind impatient, an understanding simple and unschooled. For what we know must be and is as common as any the most vulgar thing to sense. Why should we in our peevish opposition take it to heart? Fie! 'Tis a fault to heaven, a fault against the dead, a fault to nature, to reason most absurd, whose common theme is death of fathers, and who still hath cried, from the first cause till he that died today, This must be so. We pray you, throw to earth this unprevailing woe, and think of us as of a father. For let the world take note, you are the most immediate to our throne, and with no less nobility of love than that which dearest father bears his son, do I impart toward you. For your intent in going back to school in Wittenberg, it is most retrograde to our desire, and we beseech you, bend you to remain here, in the cheer and comfort of our eye, our chiefest courtier, cousin, and our son. Let not thy mother lose her prayers. Hamlet, I pray thee, stay with us, go not to Wittenberg. Why, 'tis a loving and a fair reply, be as ourself in Denmark. Madam, come, this gentle and unfoster cod of Hamlet sits smiling to my heart, in grace whereof, no jocund health that Denmark drinks today, but the great cannon to the clouds shall tell, and the kings rouse the heavens shall brood again, respeaking earthly thunder. Come away. Exeunt all but Hamlet. Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw and resolve itself into a dew. Oh, that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon gainst self-slaughter. O God, God, how weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world. Fie on't, ah fie, 'tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed. Things rank and gross in nature possess it merely. That it should come to this. But 2 months dead, nay, not so much, not two, so excellent a king, that was to this, Hyperion to a satyr, so loving to my mother that he might not beteem the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly. Heaven and earth, must I remember? Why, she would hang on him, as if increase of appetite had grown by what it fed on, and yet within a month, let me not think on't frailty, thy name is woman. A little month, or ere those shoes were old with which she followed my poor father's body, like Niobe, all tears. Why she, even she, O God, a beast that wants discourse of reason, would have mourned longer, married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules, within a month. Ere yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her galled eyes, she married. O, most wicked speed, to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets! It is not nor it cannot come to good, but break my heart, for I must hold my tongue. I am glad to see you well, Horatio, or I do forget myself. Sir, my good friend, I'll change that name with you. And what make you from Wittenberg, Horatio? Marcellus, I am very glad to see you. Good even, sir. But what, in faith, make you from Wittenberg? I would not hear your enemy say so, nor shall you do mine ere that violence, to make it truster of your own report against yourself. I know you are no truant. But what is your affair in Elsinore? Will teach you to drink deep ere you depart. I pray thee, do not mock me, fellow student. I think it was to see my mother's wedding. Thrift, Horatio. The funeral baked meats did coldly furnish forth the marriage tables. Would I had met my dearest foe in heaven or ever I had seen that day, Horatio? My father? Methinks I see my father. He was a man, take him for all in all, I shall not look upon his like again. Season your admiration for a while with an attent ear, till I may deliver, upon the witness of these gentlemen, this marvel to you. 2 nights together had these gentlemen, Marcellus and Bernardo, on their watch, in the dead vast and middle of the night, been thus encountered. A figure like your father, armed at point exactly, cap a pee, appears before them, and with solemn march goes slow and stately by them. Thrice he walked by their oppressed and fear-surprised eyes, within his truncheon's length, whilst they, distilled almost to jelly with the act of fear, stand dumb and speak not to him. This to me in dreadful secrecy impart they did, and I with them the 3rd night kept the watch, where, as they had delivered, both in time, form of the thing, each word made true and good, the apparition comes. I knew your father, these hands are not more like. My lord, I did, but answer made it none. Yet once methought it lifted up its head and did address itself to motion, like as it would speak. But even then the morning cock crew loud, and at the sound it shrunk in haste away, and vanished from our sight. As I do live, my honoured lord, 'tis true, and we did think it writ down in our duty to let you know of it. Indeed, sirs, but this troubles me. Hold you the watch tonight? It was, as I have seen it in his life, a sable silvered. I will watch tonight, perchance 'twill walk again. If it assume my noble father's person, I'll speak to it, though hell itself should gape and bid me hold my peace. I pray you all, if you have hitherto concealed this sight, let it be tenable in your silence still, and whatsoever else shall hap tonight, give it an understanding, but no tongue. I will requite your loves. So fare you well, upon the platform, 'twixt 11 and 12 I'll visit you. Your loves as mine to you, farewell. Exeunt all but Hamlet. My father's spirit in arms, all is not well, I doubt some foul play. Would the night were come? Till then sit still, my soul, foul deeds will rise, though all the earth o'erwhelm them, to men's eyes. Exit. Scene Roman 3, a room in Polonius' house. My necessaries are embarked, farewell, and sister, as the winds give benefit and convoy is assistant, do not sleep, but let me hear from you. For Hamlet and the trifling of his favor, hold it a fashion and a toy in blood, a violet in the youth of primy nature, forward, not permanent, sweet, not lasting, the perfume and suppliance of a minute, no more. Think it no more, for nature, crescent, does not grow alone in thews and bulk, but as this temple waxes, the inward service of the mind and soul grows wide withal. Perhaps he loves you now, and now no soil nor cottle doth besmirch the virtue of his will. But you must fear, his greatness weighed, his will is not his own, for he himself is subject to his birth. He may not, as unvalued persons do, carve for himself, for on his choice depends the safety and health of this whole state, and therefore must his choice be circumscribed unto the voice and yielding of that body whereof he is the head. Then if he says he loves you, it fits your wisdom so far to believe it, as he in his particular act and place may give his saying deed, which is no further than the main voice of Denmark goes withal. Then, weigh what loss your honour may sustain, if with too credent, ere you list his songs, or lose your heart, or your chaste treasure open to his unmastered importunity. Fear it, Ophelia, fear it, my dear sister, and keep you in the rear of your affection, out of the shot and danger of desire. The chariest maid is prodigal enough, if she unmask her beauty to the moon. Virtue itself scapes not calumnious strokes. The cankergulls the infants of the spring, too oft before their buttons be disclosed, and in the mawn and liquid dew of youth contagious blossoms are most imminent. Be wary then, best safety lies in fear youth to itself rebels, though none else near. I shall the effect of this good lesson keep as watchman to my heart. But good my brother, do not, as some ungracious pastors do, show me the steep and thorny way to heaven, whiles, like a puffed and reckless libertine, himself the primrose path of dalliance treads and recks not his own rede. Oh, fear me not, I stay too long, but here my father comes. A double blessing is a double grace, occasion smiles upon a second leave. Yet here, let's abode, for shame, the wind sits in the shoulder of your sail, and you are stayed for. There, my blessing with thee, and these few precepts in thy memory see thou character. Give thy thoughts no tongue, nor any unproportioned thought his act. Be thou familiar, but by no means vulgar. Those friends thou hast and their adoption tried, grapple them to thy soul with hoops of steel, but do not dull thy palm with entertainment of each new-hatched, unfledged comrade. Beware of entrance to a quarrel, but being in, bet that the opposed may beware of thee. Give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. Take each man's censure, but reserve thy judgment. Costly thy habit as thy purse can buy, but not expressed in fancy, rich, not gaudy, for the apparel oft proclaims the man, and they in France of the best rank and station are of a most select and generous chief in that. Neither a borrower nor a lender be, for loan oft loses both itself and friend, and borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry. This above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow, as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man. Farewell. My blessing season this in thee. Farewell, Ophelia, and remember well what I have said to you. 'Tis in my memory locked, and you yourself shall keep the key of it. Marry, well bethought, 'tis told me he hath very oft of late given private time to you, and you yourself have of your audience been most free and bounteous. If it be so, as so 'tis put on me, and that in way of caution, I must tell you, you do not understand yourself so clearly as it behoves my daughter and your honor. What is between you? Give me up the truth. He hath, my lord, of late made many tenders of his affection to me. Affection? Pooh, you speak like a green girl, unsifted in such perilous circumstance. Do you believe his tenders, as you call them? Marry, I'll teach you. Think yourself a baby, that you have ta'en these tenders for true pay, which are not sterling. Tender yourself more dearly, or not to crack the wind of the poor phrase, running it thus, you'll tender me a fool. My lord, he hath importuned me with love in honourable fashion, and hath given countenance to his speech, my lord, with almost all the holy vows of heaven. Aye, springes to catch woodcocks. I do know, when the blood burns, how prodigal the soul lends the tongue vows. These blazes, daughter, giving more light than heat, extinct in both, even in their promise as it is a-making, you must not take for fire. From this time be somewhat scanter of your maiden presence. Set your entreatments at a higher rate than a command to Polly. For Lord Hamlet believes so much in him, that he is young, and with a larger tether may he walk than may be given you. In few, Ophelia, do not believe his vows, for they are brokers, not of that dye which their investments show, but mere implorators of unholy suits, breathing like sanctified and pious bonds, the better to beguile. This is for all. I would not, in plain terms, from this time forth, have you so slander any moment leisure, as to give words or talk with the Lord Hamlet? Look tot, I charge you, come your ways. Seen Roman for the platform? Indeed, I heard it not. Then it draws near the season wherein the spirit held his wont to walk. A flourish of trumpets and ordnance shot off within. What does this mean, my lord? The king doth wake tonight and takes his rouse, keeps wassail, and the swaggering upspring reels, and as he drains his draughts of Rhenish down, the kettle drum and trumpet thus bray out the triumph of his pledge. Ay, marry, is't, but to my mind, though I am native here, and to the manner born, it is a custom more honoured in the breach than the observance. This heavy-headed revel east and west makes us traduced and taxed of other nations, they cleap us drunkards, and with Swinish phrase soil our addition. And indeed it takes from our achievements, though performed at height, the pith and marrow of our attribute. So, oft it chances in particular men, that for some vicious mole of nature in them, as in their birth, wherein they are not guilty, since nature cannot choose his origin, by the outgrowth of some complexion, oft breaking down the pales and thoughts of reason, or by some habit that too much all leavens the form of plausive manners, that these men, carrying, I say, the stamp of one defect, being nature's livery, or fortune's star, their virtues else, be they as pure as grace, as infinite as man may undergo, shall in the general censure take corruption from that particular fault. The dram of eel doth all the noble substance of a doubt to his own scandal. Angels and ministers of grace defend us? Be thou a spirit of health or goblin damned, bring with thee airs from heaven or blasts from hell. Be thy intents wicked or charitable, thou comest in such a questionable shape that I will speak to thee. I'll call thee Hamlet, king, father, royal Dane. Oh, answer me, let me not burst in ignorance, but tell why thy canonized bones, hearsed in death, have burst their cerements. Why the sepulchre, wherein we saw thee quietly inurned, hath aped his ponderous and marble jaws, to cast thee up again. What may this mean, that thou, dead Cos, again in complete steel revisits thus the glimpses of the moon, making night hideous, and we fools of nature so horridly to shake our disposition with thoughts beyond the reaches of our souls? Say, why is this? Wherefore? What should we do? Ghost beckons Hamlet. It beckons you to go away with it as if it some impartment did desire to you alone. Look, with what courteous action it waves you to a more removed ground, but do not go with it. Why, what should be the fear? I do not set my life in a pin's fee, and for my soul, what can it do to that, being a thing immortal as itself? It waves me forth again, I'll follow it. What if it tempt you toward the flood, my lord, or to the dreadful summit of the cliff that beetles awe his base into the sea, and there assumes some other horrible form, which might deprive your sovereignty of reason and draw you into madness? Think of it. The very place puts toys of desperation, without more motive, into every brain that looks so many fathoms to the sea and hears it roar beneath. It waves me still. Go on, I'll follow thee. My fate cries out, and makes each petty artery in this body as hardy as the Nemean lion's nerve. Still am I called. Unhand me, gentlemen. By heaven, I'll make a ghost of him that lets me. I say, away, go on, I'll follow thee. Exeunt Ghost and Hamlet. Scene V, another part of the platform. My hour is almost come, when I to sulphurous and tormenting flames must render up myself. Pity me not, but lend thy serious hearing to what I shall unfold. I am thy father's spirit, doomed for a certain term to walk the night, and for the day confined to fast in fires, till the foul crimes done in my days of nature are burnt and purged away. But that I am forbid to tell the secrets of my prison house, I could a tale unfold whose lightest word would harrow up thy soul, freeze thy young blood, make thy two eyes, like stars, start from their spheres, thy knotted and combined locks to part, and each particular hair to stand on end, like quills upon the fretful popentine. But this eternal blazon must not be to ears of flesh and blood. List, list, oh list, if thou didst ever thy dear father love, murder most foul as in the best it is, but this most foul, strange, and unnatural. Haste me to note that I, with wings as swift as meditation or the thoughts of love, may sweep to my revenge. I find thee apt, and duller shouldst thou be than the fat weed that roots itself in ease on leath waff. Wouldst thou not stir in this? Now, Hamlet, here 'tis given out that sleeping in my orchard, a serpent stung me, so the whole ear of Denmark is by a forged process of my death rankly abused. But know thou, noble youth, the serpent that did sting thy father's life now wears his crown. O my prophetic soul! My uncle, I that incestuous, that adulterate beast with witchcraft of his wit, with traitorous gifts, O wicked wit and gifts that have the power so to seduce, one to his shameful lust the will of my most seeming virtuous queen. O Hamlet, what a falling off was there! From me, whose love was of that dignity that it went hand in hand even with the vow I made to her in marriage, and to decline upon a wretch whose natural gifts were poor to those of mine. But virtue, as it never will be moved, though lewdness caught it in a shape of heaven, so lust, though to a radiant angel linked, will sate itself in a celestial bed, and prey on garbage. But soft, methinks I scent the morning air. Brief let me be. Sleeping within my orchard, my custom always of the afternoon, upon my secure hour thy uncle stole, with juice of cursed Hebanon in a vial, and in the potches of my ears did paw the leprous distilment, whose effect holds such an enmity with blood of man that swift as quicksilver it courses through the natural gates and alleys of the body, and with a sudden vigor doth posset and curd, like eager droppings into milk, the thin and wholesome blood. So did it mine, and a most instant teta barked about, most lazar-like, with vile and loathsome crust, all my smooth body. Thus was I sleeping by a brother's hand of life, of crown, of queen, at once dispatched, cut off even in the blossoms of my sin, unhouseled, disappointed, unanaled, no reckoning made, but sent to my account with all my imperfections on my head. Oh, horrible! Oh, horrible! Most horrible! If thou haste nature in thee, bear it not, let not the royal bed of Denmark be a couch for luxury and damned incest. But howsoever thou pursuest this act, taint not thy mind, nor let thy soul contrive against thy mother aught. Leave her to heaven and to those thorns that in her bosom lodge to prick and sting her. Fare thee well at once. The glowworm shows the matin to be near, and gins to pale his uneffectual fire. Adieu, adieu, Hamlet, remember me. Exit. O all you host of heaven, O earth, what else, and shall I couple hell? O fie, hold my heart, and you, my sinews, grow not instant old, but bear me stiffly up. Remember thee? Ay, thou poor ghost, while memory holds a seat in this distracted globe. Remember thee? Yea, from the table of my memory I'll wipe away all trivial fond records, all saws of books, all forms, all precious past, that youth and observation copied there, and thy commandment all alone shall live within the book and volume of my brain, unmixed with baser matter. Yes, by heaven! O most pernicious woman! O villain, villain, smiling, damned villain! My tables, meet it as I set it down that one may smile and be a villain, at least I'm sure it may be so in Denmark. Writing. So, uncle, there you are. Now to my word it is adieu, adieu, remember me. I have sworn it, how say you then? Would heart of man once think it? But you'll be secret. There's ne'er a villain dwelling in all Denmark but he's an arrant knave. There needs no ghost, my lord, come from the grave to tell us this. Why, right, you are either right, and so, without more circumstance at all, I hold it fit that we shake hands and pot, you, as your business and desire shall point you, for every man has business and desire, such as it is, and for mine own poor pot, look you, I'll go pray. I'm sorry they offend you hotly, yes, faith hotly. Yes, by St. Patrick, but there is, Horatio, and much offence too. Touching this vision here, it is an honest ghost that let me tell you, for your desire to know what is between us, almost it as you may. And now, good friends, as you are friends, scholars and soldiers, give me one poor request. In faith, my lord, not I. Ah, ha, boy, say'st thou so? Art thou there, Truepenny? Come on, you hear this fellow in the cellarage, consent to swear. Never to speak of this that you have seen, swear by my sod. Hicket, you beak? Then we'll shift our ground. Come hither, gentlemen, and lay your hands again upon my sod. Never to speak of this that you have heard, swear by my sod. Well said, old mole. Canst work I the earth so fast, a worthy Peona? Once more remove, good friends, and therefore as a stranger give it welcome. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. But come, here, as before, never, so help you mercy, how strange or odd soever I bear myself, as I perchance hereafter shall think meet to put an antic disposition on, that you, at such times seeing me, never shall, with arms encumbered thus, or this head shake, or by pronouncing of some doubtful phrase, as well we know, or we could, and if we would, or if we list to speak, or there be, and if they might, or such ambiguous giving out to note that you know aught of me. This not to do, so grace and mercy at your most need help you, swear. Rest, perturbed spirit, they swear. So, gentlemen, with all my love I do commend me to you, and what so poor a man as Hamlet is may do, to express his love and friending to you, God willing, shall not lack. Let us go in together, and still your fingers on your lips, I pray. The time is out of joint. O cursed spite, that ever I was born to set it right. Nay, come, let's go together. Exeunt. Imprint this ebook is the product of many hours of hard work by volunteers for standard ebooks, and builds on the hard work of other literature lovers made possible by the public domain. This particular ebook is based on a transcription from Massachusetts Institute of Technology and on digital scans from the Hathai Trust Digital Library. The source text and artwork in this ebook are believed to be in the United States public domain. That is, they are believed to be free of copyright restrictions in the United States. They may still be copyrighted in other countries, so users located outside of the United States must check their local laws before using this ebook. The creators of and contributors to this ebook dedicate their contributions to the worldwide public domain via the terms in the CC 01.0 Universal Public Domain dedication. For full license information, see the uncopyright at the end of this ebook. Standard eBooks is a volunteer-driven project that produces ebook editions of public domain literature using modern typography, technology, and editorial standards, and distributes them free of cost. You can download this and other ebooks carefully produced for true book lovers at standardbooks.org. Hamlet by William Shakespeare. Uncopyright. May you do good and not evil. May you find forgiveness for yourself and forgive others. May you share freely, never taking more than you give. Copyright pages exist to tell you that you can't do something. Unlike them, this uncopyright page exists to tell you that the writing and artwork in this ebook are believed to be in the United States public domain. That is, they are believed to be free of copyright restrictions in the United States. The United States public domain represents our collective cultural heritage, and items in it are free for anyone in the United States to do almost anything at all with, without having to get permission. Copyright laws are different all over the world, and the source text or artwork in this ebook may still be copyrighted in other countries. If you're not located in the United States, you must check your local laws before using this ebook. Standard ebooks makes no representations regarding the copyright status of the source text or artwork in this ebook in any country other than the United States. Non-authorship activities performed on items that are in the public domain, so-called sweat of the brow, work, don't create a new copyright. That means that nobody can claim a new copyright on an item that is in the public domain for, among other things, work like digitization, mock-up, or typography. Regardless, the contributors to this ebook release their contributions under the terms in the CC 01.0 Universal Public Domain dedication, thus dedicating to the worldwide public domain all of the work they've done on this ebook, including but not limited to metadata, the title page, imprint, colophon, this uncopyright, and any changes or enhancements to, or mock-up on, the original text and artwork. This dedication doesn't change the copyright status of the source text or artwork. We make this dedication in the interest of enriching our global cultural heritage, to promote free and libre culture around the world, and to give back to the unrestricted culture that has given all of us so much. Table of Contents Landmarks. Act Roman 2 Sinai a room in Polonius' house. You shall do marvelous wisely, good Reynaldo, before you visit him, to make inquire of his behavior. Mary, well said, very well said. Look you, sir, inquire me first what danskas are in Paris, and how, and who, what means, and where they keep, what company, at what expense. And finding by this encompassment and drift of question that they do know my son, come you more nearer than your particular demands will touch it take you. As twea some distant knowledge of him, as thus, I know his father and his friends, and impart him. Do you mock this, Reynaldo? And impart him? But you may say, not well. But if be he I mean, he's very wild, addicted so-and-so. And they put on him what forgeries you please. Marry, none so rank as may dishonor him. Take heed of that. But, sir, such wanton, wild, and usual slips as are companions noted and most known to youth and liberty. Aye, drinking, fencing, swearing, quarreling, drabbing, you may go so far. Faith, no, as you may season it in the charge. You must not put another scandal on him that he is open to incontinency, that's not my meaning. But breathe his faults so quaintly that they may seem the taints of liberty, the flash and outbreak of a fiery mind, a savageness in unreclaimed blood, of general assault. Aye, my lord, I would know that. Marry, sir, here's my drift, and I believe it is a fetch of wit, you laying these slight sullies on my son, as twere a thing a little soiled I the working, mock you, your potty in converse, him you would sound, having ever seen in the prenominate crimes the youth you breathe of guilty, be assured he closes with you in this consequence. Good sir, also, friend, gentleman, according to the phrase or the addition of man and country. At closes in the consequence, I marry, he closes thus. I know the gentleman, I saw him yesterday, or t'other day, or then, With such or such, and as you say there was a gaming, their Ottokins rouse, their falling out at tennis, or perchance, I saw him enter such a house of sale, vide licit, a brothel, or so forth. See you now, your bait of falsehood takes this cop of truth. And thus do we of wisdom and of reach, with windlasses and with assays of bias, by indirections find directions out, so by my former lecture and advice, shall you my son, you have me, have you not? My lord, as I was sewing in my closet, Lord Hamlet, with his doublet all unbraced, no hat upon his head, his stockings fouled, ungartered, and down-jived to his ankle, pale as his shirt, his knees knocking each other, and with a look so piteous in purport as if he had been loosed out of hell to speak of horrors. He comes before me. My lord, I do not know, but truly I do fear it. He took me by the wrist and held me hard. Then goes he to the length of all his arm, and with his other hand thus o'er his brow, he falls to such perusal of my face as he would draw it. Long stayed he so. At last, a little shaking of mine arm and thrice his head thus waving up and down, he raised a sigh so piteous and profound as it did seem to shatter all his bulk and end his being. That done, he lets me go. And with his head over his shoulder turned, he seemed to find his way without his eyes, for out o' doors he went without their helps, and, to the last, bended their light on me. Come, go with me. I will go seek the king. This is the very ecstasy of love, whose violent property follows itself, and leads the will to desperate undertakings as oft as any passion under heaven that does afflict our natures. I am sorry. What, have you given him any hard words of late? No, my good lord, but, as you did command, I did repel his letters and denied his access to me. That hath made him mad. I am sorry that with better heed and judgment I had not quoted him. I feared he did but trifle, and meant to wreck thee. But beshrew my jealousy? By heaven, it is as proper to our age to cast beyond ourselves in our opinions as it is common for the younger sought to lack discretion. Come, go we to the king. This must be known, which, being kept close, might move more grief to hide than hate to utter love. Exeunt. Scene room into a room in the castle. Welcome, dear Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Moreover that we much did long to see you, the need we have to use you did provoke our hasty sending. Something have you heard of Hamlet's transformation, so call it, sith nor the exterior nor the inward man resembles that it was. What it should be, more than his father's death, that thus hath put him so much from the understanding of himself, I cannot dream of. I entreat you both, that, being of so young days brought up with him, and sith so neighboured to his youth and havia, that you vouchsafe your rest here in our cot some little time. So by your companies to draw him on to pleasures, and to gather, so much as from occasion you may glean, whether aught to us unknown, afflicts him thus, that, opened, lies within our remedy. Good gentlemen, he hath much talked of you, and sure I am two men there are not living to whom he more adheres. If it will please you to show us so much gentry and goodwill as to expend your time with us a while, for the supply and profit of our hope, your visitation shall receive such thanks as fits a king's remembrance. Both your majesties might, by the sovereign power you have of us, put your dread pleasures more into command than to entreaty. But we both obey, and here give up ourselves, in the full bent to lay our service freely at your feet, to be commanded. Thanks, Guildenstern and gentle Rosencrantz, and I beseech you instantly to visit my too much changed son. Go, some of you, and bring these gentlemen where Hamlet is. Heavens make our presence and our practices pleasant and helpful to him. The ambassadors from Norway, my good lord, are joyfully returned. Have I, my lord? I assure my good liege I hold my duty, as I hold my soul, both to my God and to my gracious king, and I do think, or else this brain of mine hunts not the trail of policy so sure as it hath used to do, that I have found the very cause of Hamlet's lunacy. Give first admittance to the ambassadors, my news shall be the fruit to that great feast. Thyself do grace to them and bring them in. Exit Polonius. He tells me, my dear Gertrude, he hath found the head and sauce of all your son's distemper. I doubt it is no other but the main, his father's death, and our hasty marriage. Welcome, my good friends, say, Voltimand, what from our brother Norway? Most fair return of greetings and desires. Upon our first he sent out to suppress his nephew's levies, which to him appeared to be a preparation against the Polack. But better looked into, he truly found it was against your highness. Whereat grieved, that so his sickness, age, and impotence was falsely borne in hand, sends out arrests on Fortinbras, which he, in brief, obeys, receives rebuke from Norway, and in fine makes vow before his uncle nevermore to give the assay of arms against your majesty. Whereon old Norway, overcome with joy, gives him 3,000 crowns in annual fee, and his commission to employ those soldiers, so levied as before, against the Polack, with an entreaty herein further shown, giving a paper, that it might please you to give quiet pass through your dominions for this enterprise, on such regards of safety and allowance as therein are set down. It likes us well, and at our more considered time well read, answer, and think upon this business. Meantime we thank you for your well-took labor, go to your rest, at night we'll feast together, most welcome home. Exeunt Voltimand and Cornelius. This business is well ended. My liege and madam, to expostulate what majesty should be, what duty is, why day is day, night night, and time is time, were nothing but to waste night, day, and time. Therefore, since brevity is the soul of wit, and tediousness the limbs and outward flourishes, I will be brief. Your noble son is mad, mad call I it. For to define true madness, what is't but to be nothing else but mad? But let that go. Madam, I swear I use no aught at all. That he is mad, 'tis true, 'tis pity, and pity 'tis true, a foolish figure, but farewell it, for I will use no aught. Mad let us grant him, then, and now remains that we find out the cause of this effect, or rather say, the cause of this defect, for this effect defective comes by cause. Thus it remains, and the remainder thus. Perpend, I have a daughter, have while she is mine, who, in her duty and obedience mock hath given me this, now gather and surmise, reads. To the celestial and my soul's idol, the most beautified Ophelia. That's an ill phrase, a vile phrase. Beautified is a vile phrase, but you shall hear. Thus reads, in her excellent white bosom these, etc. Good madam, stay a while, I will be faithful. Reads, doubt thou the stars afire, doubt that the sun doth move, doubt truth to be a liar, but never doubt I love. O dear Ophelia, I am ill at these numbers, I have not aught to reckon my groans, but that I love thee best, O most best, believe it. Adieu. Thine evermore most dear lady, whilst this machine is to him, Hamlet. This, in obedience, hath my daughter shown me, and more above, hath his solicitings, as they fell out by time, by means and place, all given to mine ear. But how hath she received his love? I would fain prove so. But what might you think, when I had seen this hot love on the wing, as I perceived it? I must tell you that, before my daughter told me. What might you, all my dear majesty your queen here, think, if I had played the desk or table book, or given my heart a winking, mute and dumb, or looked upon this love with idle sight, what might you think? No, I went round to work, and my young mistress thus I did bespeak. Lord Hamlet is a prince out of thy star, this must not be. And then I precepts gave her that she should lock herself from his resort, admit no messengers, receive no tokens. Which done, she took the fruits of my advice, and he, repulsed, a short tale to make, fell into a sadness, then into a fast, thence to a watch, thence into a weakness, thence to a lightness, and, by this declension, into the madness wherein now he raves, and all we mourn for. Hath there been such a time, I'd fain know that I have positively said, 'tis so, when it proved otherwise, pointing to his head and shoulder. Take this from this, if this be otherwise. If circumstances lead me, I will find where truth is hid, though it were hid indeed within the centre. You know, sometimes he walks 4 hours together here in the lobby. At such a time I'll loose my daughter to him. Be you and I behind an arras then, mock the encounter. If he love her not and be not from his reason fallen thereon, let me be no assistant for a state, but keep a farm and cotters. Away, I do beseech you, both away. I'll baud him presently. Exeunt king, queen, and attendants. Oh, give me leave, how does my good lord Hamlet? Happy in that we are not over-happy, on fortune's cap we are not the very button. Why, one fair daughter and no more, the which he loved passing well. Why, as by lot, God wot, and then, you know, it came to pass as most like it was. The first row of the pious chanson will show you more, for look, where my abridgment comes. I heard thee speak me a speech once, but it was never acted, or, if it was, not above once, for the play, I remember, pleased not the million. 'Twas caviar to the general, but it was, as I received it and others, whose judgments in such matters cried in the top of mine. An excellent play, well digested in the scenes, set down with as much modesty as cunning. I remember, one said there were no sallets in the lines to make the matter savory, nor no matter in the phrase that might indict the author of affectation, but called it an honest method, as wholesome as sweet, and by very much more handsome than fine. One speech in it I chiefly loved. 'Twas Aeneas' tale to Dido, and thereabout of it especially, where he speaks of Priam's slaughter. If it live in your memory, begin at this line. Let me see, the rugged Pyrrhus like the Hyrcanian beast. It is not so, it begins with Pyrrhus. The rugged Pyrrhus, he whose sable arms, black as his purpose, did the knight resemble when he lay couched in the ominous hawse, hath now this dread and black complexion smeared with heraldry more dismal. Head to foot now is he total gules, horridly tricked with blood of fathers, mothers, daughters, sons, baked and impasted with the potching streets that lend a tyrannous and damned light to their lord's murder, roasted in wrath and fire, and thus ossized with coagulate gaw, with eyes like carbuncles, the hellish Pyrrhus old grandsire Priam seeks. So proceed you. Anon he finds him striking 2 shot at Greeks. His antique sod, rebellious to his arm, lies where it falls, repugnant to command. Unequal matched, Pyrrhus at Priam drives, in rage strikes wide, but with the whiff and wind of his fell sod the unnerved father falls. Then senseless Ilium, seeming to feel this blow, with flaming top stoops to his base, and with a hideous crash takes prisoner Pyrrhus' ear. For lo, his sod, which was declining on the milky head of reverend Priam, seemed the air to stick, so, as a painted tyrant, Pyrrhus stood, and like a neutral to his will and matter, did nothing. But as we often see, against some storm, a silence in the heavens, the wreck stands still, the bold winds speechless and the orb below as hush as death. Anon the dreadful thunder doth rend the region, so, after Pyrrhus' pause, aroused vengeance sets him new work. And never did the Cyclops' hammers fall on Mars's armor forged for proof etern, with less remorse than Pyrrhus' bleeding sod now falls on Priam. Out, thou strumpet, Fortune! All you gods, in general synod take away her power, break all the spokes and fellies from her wheel, and bowl the round nave down the hill of heaven, as low as to the fiends. Run barefoot up and down, threatening the flames with bison room, a cloud upon that head where late the diadem stood, and for a robe, about her lank and all teemed loins, a blanket, in the alarm of fear caught up. Who this had seen, with tongue in venom steeped, gainst Fortune's state would treason have pronounced. But if the gods themselves did see her then, when she saw Pyrrhus make malicious spot in mincing with his sod her husband's limbs, the instant burst of clamour that she made, unless things mortal move them not at all, would have made milch the burning eyes of heaven, and passion in the gods. Aye so, God be why ye, exeunt Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Now I am alone. Oh, what a rogue and peasant slave am I! Is it not monstrous that this player here, but in a fiction, in a dream of passion, could force his soul so to his own conceit that from her working all his visage wand, tears in his eyes, distraction in's aspect, a broken voice, and his whole function suiting with forms to his conceit, and all for nothing. For Hecuba? What's Hecuba to him, he to Hecuba, that he should weep for her? What would he do, had he the motive and the cue for passion that I have? He would drown the stage with tears and cleave the general ear with horrid speech, make mad the guilty and appall the free, confound the ignorant, and amaze indeed the very faculties of eyes and ears. Yet I, a dull and muddy-mettled rascal, peak, like John a dreams, unpregnant of my cause, and can say nothing. No, not for a king, upon whose property and most dear life a damned defeat was made. Am I a coward? Who calls me villain? Breaks my pate across, plucks off my beard, and blows it in my face, tweaks me by the nose, gives me the lie the throat as deep as to the lungs. Who does me this? Ha, swounds I should take it, for it cannot be but I am pigeon-livered and lack gall to make oppression bitter, or ere this I should have fatted all the region kites with this slave's offal. Bloody, bawdy villain. Remorseless, treacherous, lecherous, kindless villain. Oh, vengeance, why, what an ass am I! This is most brave that I, the son of a dear father murdered, prompted to my revenge by heaven and hell, must, like a haw, unpack my heart with words, and fall a-cursing, like a very drab, a scullion, fie upon't, foe, about my brain. I have heard that guilty creatures sitting at a play have by the very cunning of the scene been struck so to the soul that presently they have proclaimed their malefactions. For murder, though it have no tongue, will speak with most miraculous organ. I'll have these players play something like the murder of my father before mine uncle. I'll observe his looks. I'll tend him to the quick. If he but blench, I know my cause. The spirit that I have seen may be the devil, and the devil hath power to assume a pleasing shape. Yea, and perhaps out of my weakness and my melancholy, as he is very potent with such spirits, abuses me to damn me, I'll have grounds more relative than this. The play's the thing wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king. Exit. Act Roman 3. Scene I a room in the castle. And can you, by no drift of circumstance, get from him why he puts on this confusion, grating so harshly all his days of quiet with turbulent and dangerous lunacy? He does confess he feels himself distracted, but from what cause he will by no means speak. Nor do we find him forward to be sounded, but, with a crafty madness, keeps aloof, when we would bring him on to some confession of his true state. Negative question, but of our demands, most free in his reply. Did you essay him to any pastime? Madam, it so fell out that certain players we o'erat on the way, of these we told him, and there did seem in him a kind of joy to hear of it. They are about the cot, and, as I think, they have already ordered this night to play before him. 'Tis most true, and he beseeched me to entreat your majesties to hear and see the matter. With all my heart, and it doth much content me to hear him so inclined. Good gentlemen, give him a further edge, and drive his purpose on to these delights. Sweet Gertrude, leave us too, for we have closely sent for Hamlet hither, that he, as 'twere by accident, may hear affront Ophelia. Her father and myself, lawful espials, will so bestow ourselves that, seeing, unseen, we may of their encounter frankly judge, and gather by him, as he is behaved, if't be the affliction of his love or no that thus he suffers for. I shall obey you. And for your part, Ophelia, I do wish that your good beauties be the happy cause of Hamlet's wildness. So shall I hope your virtues will bring him to his wonted way again, to both your honours. Ophelia, walk you here. Gracious, so please you, we will bestow ourselves. To Ophelia, read on this book, that show of such an exercise may colour your loneliness. We are oft to blame in this, 'tis too much proved, that with devotion's visage and pious action, we do sugar awe the devil himself. Aside, oh, 'tis too true? How smart a lash that speech doth give my conscience. The harlot's cheek, beautied with plastering art, is not more ugly to the thing that helps it than is my deed to my most painted word. O heavy burthen, to be, or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them. To die, to sleep, no more, and by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to, 'tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream, aye, there's the rub, for in that sleep of death what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil, must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would fardels bear, to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveller returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others that we know not of. Thus conscience does make cowards of us all. And thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied awe with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pitch and moment with this regard, their currents turn awry, and lose the name of action. Soft you now, the fair Ophelia? Nymph, in thy orisons be all my sins remembered. Good my lord, how does your honour for this many a day? My lord, I have remembrances of yours that I have longed long to redeliver. I pray you now receive them. No, not I never gave you aught. My honoured lord, you know right well you did, and with them, words of so sweet breath composed as made the things more rich. Their perfume lost, take these again. For to the noble mind rich gifts wax poor when givers prove unkind. There, my lord. Oh, what a noble mind is here o'erthrown. The courtiers, soldiers, scholars, eye, tongue, sod, the expectancy and rose of the fair state, the gloss of fashion and the mould of form, the observed of all observers, quite down? And I, of ladies most deject and wretched, that sucked the honey of his music vows, now see that noble and most sovereign reason, like sweet bells jangled, out of tune and harsh, that unmatched form and feature of blown youth blasted with ecstasy. Oh, woe is me, to have seen what I have seen, see what I see? Love. His affections do not that way tend, nor what he spake, though it lacked form a little, was not like madness. There's something in his soul, all which his melancholy sits on brood, and I do doubt the hatch and the disclose will be some danger, which for to prevent, I have in quick determination thus set it down. He shall with speed to England, for the demand of our neglected tribute. Haply the seas and countries different with variable objects shall expel this something settled matter in his heart, whereon his brains still beating puts him thus from fashion of himself. What think you on't? It shall do well. But yet do I believe the origin and commencement of his grief sprung from neglected love. How now, Ophelia, you need not tell us what Lord Hamlet said, we heard it all. My lord, do as you please, but if you hold it fit, after the play let his queen mother all alone entreat him to show his grief. Let her be round with him, and I'll be placed, so please you, in the ear of all their conference. If she find him not, to England send him, or confine him where your wisdom best shall think. It shall be so, madness in great ones must not unwatched go. Exeunt. Scene room into a hall in the castle. Horatio, thou art an as just a man as ere my conversation coped withal. Nay, do not think I flatter. For what advancement may I hope from thee that no revenue haste but thy good spirits to feed and clothe thee? Why should the poor be flattered? No, let the candied tongue lick absurd pomp, and crook the pregnant hinges of the knee where thrift may follow fawning. Dost thou hear? Since my dear soul was mistress of her choice and could of men distinguish, her election hath sealed thee for herself. For thou hast been as one, in suffering all, that suffers nothing, a man that fortune's buffets and rewards haste ta'en with equal thanks. And blessed are those whose blood and judgment are so well commingled, that they are not a pipe for fortune's finger to sound what stop she please. Give me that man that is not passion's slave, and I will wear him in my heart's caw, aye, in my heart of heart, as I do thee. Something too much of this. There is a play tonight before the king. One scene of it comes near the circumstance which I have told thee of my father's death. I prithee, when thou seest that act afoot, even with the very comment of thy soul observe mine uncle. If his occulted guilt do not itself unkennel in one speech, it is a damned ghost that we have seen, and my imaginations are as foul as Vulcan's stithy. Give him heedful note, for mine eyes will rivet to his face, and after we will both our judgments join in censure of his seeming. Well, my lord, if he steal aught the whilst this play is playing and scape detecting, I will pay the theft. They are coming to the play, I must be idle, get you a place. For us, and for our tragedy, here stooping to your clemency, we beg your hearing patiently. Exit. Full 30 times hath Phoebus caught gone round Neptune's salt wash and Tellus obbed ground, and 30 dozen moons with borrowed sheen about the world have times 12/30s been since love our hearts and hymen did our hands unite commutual in most sacred bands. So many journeys may the sun and moon make us again count or ere love be done. But woe is me, you are so sick of late, so far from cheer and from your former state that I distrust you. Yet though I distrust, discomfort you, my lord, it nothing must, for women's fear and love holds quantity in neither aught or in extremity. Now what my love is, proof hath made you know, and as my love is sized, my fear is so. Where love is great, the littlest doubts are fear, where little fears grow great, great love grows there. Faith, I must leave thee, love, and shortly too, my operant powers their functions leave to do, and thou shalt live in this fair world behind, honoured, beloved, and haply one as kind for husband shalt thou, oh, confound the rest. Such love must needs be treason in my breast, in second husband let me be accursed, none wed the second but who killed the first. The instances that second marriage move are base respects of thrift, but none of love. A second time I kill my husband dead, when second husband kisses me in bed. I do believe you think what now you speak, but what we do determine oft we break. Purpose is but the slave to memory, of violent birth, but poor validity, which now, like fruit unripe, sticks on the tree, but fall, unshaken when they mellow be. Most necessary 'tis that we forget to pay ourselves what to ourselves is debt. What to ourselves in passion we propose, the passion ending, doth the purpose lose. The violence of either grief or joy their own enactions with themselves destroy. Where joy most revels, grief doth most lament. Grief joys, joy grieves, on slender accident. This world is not for aye, nor 'tis not strange that even our loves should with our fortunes change, for 'tis a question left us yet to prove, whether love lead fortune, or else fortune love. The great man down, you mock his favourite flies, the poor advanced makes friends of enemies. And hitherto doth love on fortune tend, for who not needs shall never lack a friend, and who in want a hollow friend doth try, directly seasons him his enemy. But, oddly to end where I begun, our wills and fates do so contrary run that our devices still are overthrown, our thoughts are ours, their ends none of our own. So think thou wilt no second husband wed, but die thy thoughts when thy first lord is dead. Nor earth to me give food, nor heaven light, spot and repose lock from me day and night. To desperation turn my trust and hope, and anchor's cheer in prison be my scope. Each opposite that blanks the face of joy meet what I would have well and it destroy. Both here and hence pursue me lasting strife, if once a widow, ever I be wife. 'Tis deeply swan, sweet, leave me here a while, my spirits grow dull, and fain I would beguile the tedious day with sleep. Sleep rock thy brain, and never come mischance between us twain. Exit. Thoughts black, hands apt, drugs fit, and time agreeing, confederate season, else no creature seeing. Thou mixture rank, of midnight weeds collected, with Hecate's band thrice blasted, thrice infected, thy natural magic and dire property, on wholesome life usurp immediately. Pause the poison into the sleeper's ears. Why, let the stricken deer go weep, the hot, ungalled play, for some must watch, while some must sleep, so runs the world away. Would not this, sir, and a forest of feathers, if the rest of my fortunes turn Turk with me, with 2 provincial roses on my raised shoes, get me a fellowship in a cry of players, sir, a whole one, aye. For thou dost know, O Damandia, this realm dismantled was of Jove himself, and now reigns here a very, very Pajuk. Ah ha, come some music, come the ricotas, for if the king like not the comedy, why then belike he likes it not purdy. Come some music. By and by is easily said. Exit Polonius. Leave me, friends, exeunt all but Hamlet. 'Tis now the very witching time of night when churchyards yawn and hell itself breathes out contagion to this world. Now could I drink hot blood, and do such bit a business as the day would quake to look on. Soft, now to my mother. O hot, lose not thy nature. Let not ever the soul of Nero enter this firm bosom. Let me be cruel, not unnatural. I will speak daggers to her, but use none. My tongue and soul in this be hypocrites. How in my words soever she be shent, to give them seals never my soul consent. Exit. Scene Roman 3. A room in the castle. I like him not, nor stands it safe with us to let his madness range. Therefore prepare you. I your commission will forthwith dispatch, and he to England shall along with you. The terms of our estate may not endure hazard so dangerous as doth hourly grow out of his lunacies. We will ourselves provide. Most holy and religious fear it is to keep those many bodies safe that live and feed upon your majesty. The single and peculiar life is bound, with all the strength and armor of the mind, to keep itself from noyance, but much more that spirit upon whose will depend and rest the lives of many. The cease of majesty dies not alone, but like a gulf, doth draw what's near it with it. It is a massy wheel, fixed on the summit of the highest mount, to whose huge spokes 10,000 lesser things are mortized and adjoined, which, when it falls, each small annexment, petty consequence, attends the boisterous ruin. Never alone did the king sigh, but with a general groan. Arm you, I pray you, to this speedy voyage, for we will fetters put upon this fear, which now goes too free-footed. My lord, he's going to his mother's closet, behind the arras I'll convey myself, to hear the process, and warrant she'll tax him home. And, as you said, and wisely was it said, 'tis meet that some more audience than a mother, since nature makes them partial, should hear the speech of vantage. Fare you well, my liege, I'll call upon you ere you go to bed, and tell you what I know. Thanks, dear my lord. Exit Polonius. Oh, my offence is rank, it smells to heaven, it hath the primal eldest curse upon a brother's murder. Pray can I not, though inclination be as sharp as will, my stronger guilt defeats my strong intent, and, like a man to double business bound, I stand in pause where I shall first begin, and both neglect. What if this cursed hand were thicker than itself with brother's blood? Is there not rain enough in the sweet heavens to wash it white as snow? Whereto serves mercy but to confront the visage of offence? And what's in prayer but this twofold fosse, to be forestalled ere we come to fall, or pardoned being down? Then I'll look up, my fault is past. But oh, what form of prayer can serve my turn? Forgive me my foul murder. That cannot be, since I am still possessed of those effects for which I did the murder, my crown, mine own ambition and my queen. May one be pardoned and retain the offence. In the corrupted currents of this world offence's gilded hand may shove by justice, and oft 'tis seen the wicked prize itself buys out the law. But 'tis not so above. There is no shuffling, there the action lies in his true nature, and we ourselves compelled, even to the teeth and forehead of our faults, to give in evidence. What then? What rests? Try what repentance can, what can it not? Yet what can it when one cannot repent? O wretched state! O bosom black as death! O limed soul that, struggling to be free, art more engaged! Help, angels, make essay! Bow, stubborn knees, and, hot with strings of steel, be soft as sinews of the newborn babe, all may be well. Retires and kneels. Now might I do it pat, now he is praying, and now I'll dot. And so he goes to heaven, and so am I revenged. That would be scanned, a villain kills my father, and for that I, his sole son, do this same villain send to heaven. Oh, this is hire and salary, not revenge. He took my father grossly, full of bread, with all his crimes broad blown, as flush as May, and how his audit stands who knows save heaven. But in our circumstance and cost of thought, 'tis heavy with him, and am I then revenged, to take him in the purging of his soul, when he is fit and seasoned for his passage? No, up, sod, and know thou a more horrid hent, when he is drunk asleep, or in his rage, or in the incestuous pleasure of his bed, at gaming, swearing, or about some act that has no relish of salvation in't, then trip him, that his heels may kick at heaven, and that his soul may be as damned and black as hell. Whereto it goes. My mother stays, this physic but prolongs thy sickly days. Exit. Rising, my words fly up, my thoughts remain below, words without thoughts never to heaven go. Exit. Scene Roman Father Queen's closet. He will come straight. Look you lay home to him, tell him his pranks have been too broad to bear with, and that your grace hath screened and stood between much heat and him. I'll sconce me even here. Pray you be round with him. I'll warrant you, fear me not, withdraw, I hear him coming. Polonius hides behind the arras. No, by the rood, not so, you are the queen, your husband's brother's wife, and, would it were not so, you are my mother. Come, come, and sit you down, you shall not budge, you go not till I set you up a glass where you may see the inmost part of you. What wilt thou do? Thou wilt not murder me? Help, help, ho? Nay, I know not, is it the king? A bloody deed? Almost as bad, good mother, as kill a king and marry with his brother. Ay, lady, 'twas my word. Lifts up the arras and discovers Polonius. Thou wretched, rash, intruding fool, farewell. I took thee for thy better, take thy fortune, thou find'st to be too busy is some danger. Leave wringing of your hands, peace, sit you down, and let me wring your heart. For so I shall, if it be made of penetrable stuff, if damned custom have not brassed it so that it be proof and bulwark against sense. What have I done, that thou darest wag thy tongue in noise so rude against me? Such an act that blurs the grace and blush of modesty, calls virtue hypocrite, takes off the rose from the fair forehead of an innocent love and sets a blister there, makes marriage vows as false as dice's oaths. Oh, such a deed as from the body of contraction plucks the very soul, and sweet religion makes a rhapsody of words. Heaven's face doth glow. Yea, this solidity and compound mass, with tristful visage, as against the doom, is thought sick at the act. Ay me, what act, that raws so loud, and thunders in the index. Look here, upon this picture, and on this, the counterfeit presentment of two brothers. See, what a grace was seated on this brow, Hyperion's curls, the front of Jove himself, an eye like Mars, to threaten and command, a station like the herald Mercury new lighted on a heaven-kissing hill, a combination and a form indeed, where every god did seem to set his seal, to give the world assurance of a man. This was your husband. Look you now, what follows, here is your husband, like a mildewed ear, blasting his wholesome brother. Have you eyes? Could you on this fair mountain leave to feed and batten on this moor? Ha, have you eyes? You cannot call it love, for at your age the heyday in the blood is tame, it's humble, and waits upon the judgment. And what judgment would step from this to this? Sense sure you have, else could you not have motion. But sure that sense is apoplexed, for madness would not err. Nor sense to ecstasy was ne'er so thralled, but it reserved some quantity of choice, to serve in such a difference. What devil was't that thus hath cozened you at hoodman blind? Eyes without feeling, feeling without sight, ears without hands or eyes, smelling sands all, but a sickly pot of one true sense could not so mope. O shame, where is thy blush? Rebellious hell, if thou canst mutine in a matron's bones, to flaming youth let virtue be as wax, and melt in her own fire. Proclaim no shame when the compulsive ardor gives the charge, since frost itself as actively doth burn and reason pandas will. O Hamlet, speak no more, thou turn'st mine eyes into my very soul, and there I see such black and grained spots as will not leave their tinct. Nay, but to live in the rank sweat of an enseamed bed, stewed in corruption, honeying and making love over the nasty sty. Oh, speak to me no more. These words, like daggers, enter in mine ears. No more, sweet Hamlet? A murderer and a villain, a slave that is not 20th part the tithe of your precedent laud, a vice of kings, a cutpurse of the empire and the rule, that from a shelf the precious diadem stole, and put it in his pocket. Save me, and hover o'er me with your wings, you heavenly gods. What would your gracious figure? Do you not come your toddy son to chide, that, lapsed in time and passion, let's go by the impotent acting of your dread command? Oh, say, do not forget, this visitation is but to whet thy almost blunted purpose. But look, amazement on thy mother sits. Oh, step between her and her fighting soul. Conceit in weakest body's strongest works, speak to her, Hamlet. Alas, how is't with you, that you do bend your eye on vacancy, and with the incorporeal air do hold discourse? Forth at your eyes your spirits wildly peep, and as the sleeping soldiers in the alarm, your bedded hair, like life in excrements, start up and stand an end. O gentle sun, upon the heat and flame of thy distemper sprinkle cool patience. Whereon do you look? On him, on him? Look you, how pale he glares. His form and cause conjoined, preaching to stones would make them capable. Do not look upon me, lest with this piteous action you convert my stern effects, then what I have to do will want true color, tears perchance for blood. Why, look you there? Look how it steals away, my father, in his habit as he lived. Look where he goes even now, out at the pottle, Exit ghost. This the very coinage of your brain, this bodiless creation ecstasy is very cunning in. Ecstasy? My pulse as yours doth temperately keep time and makes as healthful music. It is not madness that I have uttered. Bring me to the test, and I the matter will reword, which madness would gambol from. Mother, for love of grace, lay not that flattering unction to your soul, that not your trespass, but my madness speaks. It will but skin and film the ulcerous place, whilst rank corruption, mining all within, infects unseen. Confess yourself to heaven, repent what's past, avoid what is to come, and do not spread the compost on the weeds to make them ranker. Forgive me this my virtue, for in the fatness of these pursy times virtue itself of vice must pardon beg, yea, curb and woo for leave to do him good. Oh, throw away the worse a part of it, and live the purer with the other half. Good night, but go not to mine uncle's bed, assume a virtue, if you have it not. That monster, custom, who all sense doth eat of habits devil, is angel yet in this, that to the use of actions fair and good he likewise gives a frock or livery, that aptly is put on. Refrain tonight, and that shall lend a kind of easiness to the next abstinence, the next more easy, for use almost can change the stamp of nature, and either master one the devil, or throw him out with wondrous potency. Once more, good night, and when you are desirous to be blessed, I'll blessing beg of you. For this same laud, pointing to Polonius, I do repent, but heaven hath pleased it so to punish me with this and this with me, that I must be their scourge and minister. I will bestow him, and will answer well the death I gave him. So, again, good night. I must be cruel, only to be kind, thus bad begins and worse remains behind. One word more, good lady. Not this by no means that I bid you do. Let the bloat king tempt you again to bed, pinch wanton on your cheek. Call you his mouse, and let him, for a pair of reechy kisses, or paddling in your neck with his damned fingers, make you to ravel all this matter out, that I essentially am not in madness, but mad in craft. 'Twere good you let him know, for who, that's but a queen, fair, sober, wise, would from a paddock, from a bat, a jib, such dear concernings hide. Who would do so? No, in despite of sense and secrecy, unpeg the basket on the house's top, let the birds fly, and like the famous ape, to try conclusions in the basket creep and break your own neck down. Be thou assured, if words be made of breath, and breath of life, I have no life to breathe what thou hast said to me. Alack, I had forgot, 'tis so concluded on, there's let is sealed, and my two schoolfellows, whom I will trust as I will Adda's fanged, they bear the mandate, they must sweep my way, and marshal me to knavery. Let it work, for 'tis the spot to have the engineer hoist with his own peta. Ant shall go hard, but I will delve 1 yard below their minds, and blow them at the moon. Oh, 'tis most sweet, when in one line 2 crafts directly meet. This man shall set me packing, I'll lug the guts into the neighbor room. Mother, good night. Indeed this counsellor is now most still, most secret and most grave, who was in life a foolish prating knave. Come, sir, to draw toward an end with you. Good night, mother. Exeunt severally, Hamlet dragging in Polonius. Act Roman 4 scene I a room in the castle. There's matter in these sighs, these profound heaves, you must translate, 'tis fit we understand them. Where is your son? Bestow this place on us a little while. Exeunt Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Ah, mine good lord, what have I seen tonight? Mad as the sea and wind, when both contend which is the mightier. In his lawless fit, behind the arras hearing something stir, whips out his rapier, cries, a rat, and, in this brainish apprehension, kills the unseen good old man. O heavy deed! It had been so with us had we been there. His liberty is full of threats to all, to you yourself, to us, to everyone. Alas, how shall this bloody deed be answered? It will be laid to us, whose providence should have kept shot, restrained, and out of haunt, this mad young man. But so much was our love, we would not understand what was most fit, but like the owner of a foul disease, to keep it from divulging, let it feed even on the pith of life. Where is he gone? To draw apart the body he hath killed. Ah, whom his very madness, like some ore among a mineral of metal's base, shows itself pure. He weeps for what is done. O Gertrude, come away. The sun no sooner shall the mountains touch, but we will ship him hence. And this vile deed we must, with all our majesty and skill, both countenance and excuse. Ho, Guildenstern, friends both, go join you with some further aid. Hamlet in madness hath Polonius slain, and from his mother's closet hath he dragged him. Go seek him out, speak fair, and bring the body into the chapel. I pray you, haste in this. Exeunt Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Come, Gertrude, we'll call up our wisest friends, and let them know, both what we mean to do, and what's untimely done. So haply slander, Two whose whisper are the world's diameter, as level as the cannon to his blank, transports his poisoned shot, may miss our name, and hit the woundless air. Oh, come away! My soul is full of discord and dismay. Exeunt. Scene room into another room in the castle. Tell us where 'tis, that we may take it thence and bear it to the chapel. Scene Roman 3 another room in the castle. I have sent to seek him, and to find the body. How dangerous is it that this man goes loose? Yet must not we put the strong law on him? He's loved of the distracted multitude, who like not in their judgment, but their eyes. And where 'tis so, the offender's scourge is weighed, but never the offense. To bear all smooth and even, this sudden sending him away must seem deliberate pause. Diseases desperate grown by desperate appliance are relieved, or not at all. Where the dead body is bestowed, my lord, we cannot get from him. Hamlet, this deed, for thine especial safety, which we do tender, as we dearly grieve for that which thou hast done, must send thee hence with fiery quickness. Therefore prepare thyself, the bark is ready, and the wind at help, the associates tend, and everything is bent for England. Follow him at foot, tempt him with speed abroad, delay it not, I'll have him hence tonight, away? For everything is sealed and done that else leans on the affair. Pray you, make haste. Exeunt Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. And England, if my love thou hold'st it aught, as my great power thereof may give thee sense, since yet thy cicatrice looks raw and red after the Danish sod, and thy free awe pays homage to us, thou mayst not coldly set our sovereign process, which imparts at full, by letters congruing to that effect, the present death of Hamlet. Do it, England, for like the hectic in my blood he rages, and thou must cure me, till I know 'tis done, howe'er my haps my joys were ne'er begun. Exit. Scene Roman 4 a plain in Denmark. Go, captain, for me greet the Danish king. Tell him that by his license, Fortinbras craves the conveyance of a promised march over his kingdom. You know the rendezvous. If that his majesty would aught with us, we shall express our duty in his eye, and let him know so. Goes it against the main of Poland, sir, or for some frontier? Truly to speak, and with no addition, we go to gain a little patch of ground that hath in it no profit but the name. To pay 5 ducats, 5, I would not farm it. Nor will it yield to Norway, or the Pole a ranker rate, should it be sold in fee. 2,000 souls and 20,000 ducats will not debate the question of this straw. This is the imposthume of much wealth and peace, that inward breaks, and shows no cause without why the man dies. I humbly thank you, sir. I'll be with you straight. Go a little before. Exeunt all except Hamlet. How all occasions do inform against me and spur my dull revenge. What is a man, if his chief good and market of his time be but to sleep and feed? A beast, no more. Sure, he that made us with such large discourse, looking before and after, gave us not that capability and godlike reason to fust in us unused. Now, whether it be bestial oblivion, or some craven scruple of thinking too precisely on the event, a thought which, quoted, hath but 1 part wisdom and ever 3 parts coward, I do not know why yet I live to say, this thing's to do. Sith I have cause and will and strength and means to dot. Examples gross as earth exhort me. Witness this army of such mass and charge led by a delicate and tender prince, whose spirit with divine ambition puffed makes mouths at the invisible event, exposing what is mortal and unsure to all that fortune, death and danger dare, even for an eggshell. Rightly to be great is not to stir without great argument, but greatly to find quarrel in a straw when honor's at the stake. How stand I then, that have a father killed, a mother stained, excitements of my reason and my blood, and let all sleep? While to my shame, I see the imminent death of 20,000 men, that for a fantasy and trick of fame, go to their graves like beds, fight for a plot whereon the numbers cannot try the cause, which is not tomb enough and continent to hide the slain. Oh, from this time forth, my thoughts be bloody, or be nothing worth. Exit. Scene v. Elsinore, a room in the castle. She is importunate, indeed distract, her mood will needs be pitied. She speaks much of her father, says she hears there's tricks i' the world, and hems and beats her heart, spurns enviously at straws, speaks things in doubt that carry but half sense. Her speech is nothing, yet the unshaped use of it doth move the hearers to collection. They aim at it, and botch the words up fit to their own thoughts, which, as her winks and nods and gestures yield them, indeed would make one think there might be thought, though nothing sure, yet much unhappily. 'Twere good she were spoken with, for she may strew dangerous conjectures in ill-breeding minds. Let her come in. Exit Horatio. To my sick soul, as sin's true nature is, each toy seems prologue to some great amiss, so full of artless jealousy is guilt, it spills itself in fearing to be spilt. Sings. How should I your true love know from another one? By his cockle hat and staff and his sandal shoon. Say you? Nay, pray you mock. Sings. He is dead and gone, lady, he is dead and gone, at his head a grass-green turf, at his heels a stone. Pray you mock, sings, white his shroud as the mountain snow, sings, lauded with sweet flowers, which bewept to the grave did go with true love showers. Pray you, let's have no words of this, but when they ask you what it means, say you this, sings. Tomorrow is St. Valentine's Day, all in the morning betime, and I am made at your window to be your Valentine. Then up he rose and donned his clothes and duped the chamber door, let in the maid that out a maid never departed more. Indeed, la, without an oath, I'll make an end on't, sings. By Gis and by Saint Charity, alack, and fie for shame, young men will dot if they come taught, by cock they are to blame. Quoth she, before you tumbled me you promised me to wed. So would I ha done by yonder sun, and thou hadst not come to my bed. Follow her close, give her good watch, I pray you. Exit Horatio. Oh, this is the poison of deep grief, it springs all from her father's death. O Gertrude, Gertrude, when sorrows come, they come not single spies but in battalions. First her father slain, next your son gone, and he most violent author of his own just remove. The people mudded, thick and unwholesome in their thoughts and whispers, for good Polonius' death, and we have done but greenly, in hugga-mugga to inter him. Poor Ophelia divided from herself and her fair judgment, without the which we are pictures, all mere beasts. Lost, and as much containing as all these, her brother is in secret come from France, feeds on his wonder, keeps himself in clouds, and wants not buzzes to infect his ear with pestilent speeches of his father's death, wherein necessity, of matter beggared, will nothing stick our person to arraign in ear and ear. Oh, my dear Gertrude, this, like to a murdering piece, in many places gives me superfluous death. A noise within. Save yourself, my lord. The ocean, overpeering of his list, eats not the flats with more impetuous haste than young Laets in a riotous head, awe bears your offices. The rabble call him laud, and, as the world were now but to begin, antiquity forgot, custom not known, the ratifiers and props of every word they cry choose we. Laets shall be king? Caps, hands, and tongues applaud it to the clouds. Laets shall be king, Laets king. How cheerfully on the false trail they cry. Oh, this is counter, you false Danish dogs, I thank you. Keep the daw. O thou vile king, give me my father. That drop of blood that's calm proclaims me bastard, cries cuckold to my father. Brands the harlot even here, between the chaste unsmirched brow of my true mother. What is the cause, Laets, that thy rebellion looks so giant-like? Let him go, Gertrude, do not fear our person. There's such divinity doth hedge a king, that treason can but peep to what it would, acts little of his will. Tell me, Laets, why thou art thus incensed. Let him go, Gertrude. Speak, man, how came he dead? I'll not be juggled with to hell, allegiance, vows to the blackest devil, conscience and grace to the profoundest pit, I dare damnation. To this point I stand, that both the worlds I give to negligence, let come what comes, only I'll be revenged most thoroughly for my father. My will, not all the world, and for my means I'll husband them so well, they shall go far with little. Good Laets, if you desire to know the certainty of your dear father's death, is't writ in your revenge, that swoopstake, you will draw both friend and foe, winner and loser. To his good friends thus wide I'll ope my arms, and like the kind life-rendering pelican, repass them with my blood. Why, now you speak like a good child and a true gentleman, that I am guiltless of your father's death, and am most sensible in grief for it. It shall as level to your judgment pierce as day does to your eye. O heat, dry up my brains. Tears 7 times salt, burn out the sense and virtue of mine eye. By heaven, thy madness shall be paid by weight, till our scale turn the beam. O rose of May, dear maid, kind sister, sweet Ophelia, O heavens, is't possible a young maid's wits should be as moral as an old man's life? Nature is fine in love, and where 'tis fine, it sends some precious instance of itself after the thing it loves. Sings. They bought him barefaced on the bier, hey nun nonny nonny, hey nonny, and in his grave rained many a tear. Fare you well, my dove. Hadst thou thy wits and didst persuade revenge, it could not move thus. Sings. You must sing A down, and you call him A down A. Oh, how the wheel becomes it! It is the false steward that stole his master's daughter. There's fennel for you and columbines, there's rue for you, and here's some for me. We may call it herb grace o' Sundays, oh you must wear your rue with a difference. There's a daisy, I would give you some violets, but they withered all when my father died. They say he made a good end, sings, for bonny sweet Robin is all my joy. Thought and affliction, passion, hell itself, she turns to favour and to prettiness, sings, and will he not come again? And will he not come again? No, no, he is dead, go to thy deathbed, he never will come again. His beard was as white as snow, all flaxen was his poll, he is gone, and we cast away moan, God ha mercy on his soul. and of all Christian souls I pray God, God be why ye. Exit, Laertes. I must commune with your grief, or you deny me right. Go but apart, make choice of whom your wisest friends you will, and they shall hear and judge twixt you and me. If by direct or by collateral hand they find us touched, we will our kingdom give, our crown, our life, and all that we can ours, to you in satisfaction. But if not, be you content to lend your patience to us, and we shall jointly labor with your soul to give it due content. Let this be so. His means of death, his obscure funeral, no trophy, sod, nor hatchment are his bones, no noble rite nor formal ostentation, cry to be heard, as twere from heaven to earth that I must call in question. So you shall, and where the offense is let the great axe fall. I pray you, go with me. Exeunt. Scene vi another room in the castle. Reads. Horatio, when thou shalt have overlooked this, give these fellows some means to the king, they have letters for him. Ere we were 2 days old at sea, a pirate of very warlike appointment gave us chase. Finding ourselves too slow of sail, we put on a compelled valor, and in the grapple I botted them. On the instant they got clear of our ship, so I alone became their prisoner. They have dealt with me like thieves of mercy, but they knew what they did. I am to do a good turn for them. Let the king have the letters I have sent, and repair thou to me with as much speed as thou wouldst fly death. I have words to speak in thine ear will make thee dumb, yet are they much too light for the bore of the matter. These good fellows will bring thee where I am. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern hold their course for England. Of them I have much to tell thee. Farewell. He that thou knowest thine, Hamlet. Come, I will make you way for these your letters, and doth the speedier, that you may direct me to him from whom you brought them. Exeunt. Scene Roman 7 another room in the castle. Now must your conscience my acquittance seal, and you must put me in your heart for friend, sith you have heard, and with a knowing ear, that he which hath your noble father slain pursued my life. It well appears. But tell me why you proceeded not against these feats, so crimeful and so capital in nature, as by your safety, wisdom, all things else, you mainly were stirred up. Oh, for 2 special reasons, which may to you perhaps seem much unsinewed, but yet to me they are strong. The queen his mother lives almost by his looks, and for myself, my virtue or my plague, be it either which, she's so conjunctive to my life and soul, that as the star moves not but in his sphere, I could not but by her. The other motive, why to a public count I might not go, is the great love the general gender bear him, who, dipping all his faults in their affection, would, like the spring that turneth wood to stone, convert his gyves to graces, so that my arrows, too slightly timbered for so loud a wind, would have reverted to my bow again, and not where I had aimed them. And so have I a noble father lost, a sister driven into desperate terms, whose worth, if praises may go back again, stood challenger on mount of all the age for her perfections. But my revenge will come. Break not your sleeps for that. You must not think that we are made of stuff so flat and dull that we can let our beard be shook with danger and think it pastime. You shortly shall hear more. I loved your father, and we love ourself, and that I hope will teach you to imagine. Letters, my lord, from Hamlet, this to your majesty, this to the queen. Sailors, my lord, they say, I saw them not, they were given me by Claudio, he received them of him that brought them. Laertes, you shall hear them, leave us, exit messenger. Reads. High and mighty, you shall know I am set naked on your kingdom. Tomorrow shall I beg leave to see your kingly eyes, when I shall, first asking your pardon thereunto, recount the occasion of my sudden and most strange return. Hamlet. What should this mean? Are all the rest come back, or is it some abuse and no such thing? 'Tis Hamlet's character. Naked, and in a postscript here he says alone. Can you advise me? I'm lost in it, my lord, but let him come. It warms the very sickness in my heart that I shall live and tell him to his teeth. Thus diedest thou. If it be so, Laertes, as how should it be so? How otherwise? Will you be ruled by me? Ay, my lord, so you will not oral me to a peace, to thine own peace. If he be now returned, as checking at his voyage, and that he means no more to undertake it, I will work him to an exploit, now ripe in my device, under the which he shall not choose but fall. And for his death no wind of blame shall breathe, but even his mother shall uncharge the practice and call it accident. My lord, I will be ruled, the rather, if you could devise it so that I might be the organ. It falls right. You have been talked of since your travel much, and that in Hamlet's hearing, for a quality wherein, they say, you shine. Your sum of pots did not together pluck such envy from him as did that one, and that, in my regard, of the unworthiest siege, a very riband in the cap of youth, yet needful too. For youth no less becomes the light and careless livery that it wears than settled age his sables and his weeds, imparting health and graveness. 2 months since, here was a gentleman of Normandy. I've seen myself and served against the French, and they can well on horseback. But this gallant had witchcraft in't. He grew unto his seat, and to such wondrous doing brought his hoss, as he had been encopsed and demi-natured with the brave beast. So far he topped my thought, that I, in forgery of shapes and tricks, come short of what he did. I know him well. He is the brooch indeed and gem of all the nation. He made confession of you, and gave you such a masterly report for art and exercise in your defence, and for your rapier most especial, that he cried out, 'Twould be a sight indeed, if one could match you. The scrimas of their nation, he swore, had neither motion, God, nor I, if you opposed them. Sir, this report of his did Hamlet so envenom with his envy that he could nothing do but wish and beg your sudden coming to play with him. Now, out of this, Laertes, was your father dear to you? Or are you like the painting of a sorrow, a face without a heart? Not that I think you did not love your father, but that I know love is begun by time, and that I see, in passages of proof, time qualifies the spark and fire of it. There lives within the very flame of love a kind of wick or snuff that will abate it, and nothing is at a like goodness still. For goodness, growing to a pleurisy, dies in his own too much. That we would do, we should do when we would. For this, would changes and hath abatements and delays as many as there are tongues, are hands, are accidents. And then this should is like a spendthrift sigh that hurts by easing. But to the quick o' the ulcer, Hamlet comes back. What would you undertake? To show yourself your father's son indeed more than in words. No place indeed should murder sanctuarize. Revenge should have no bounds. But, good Laertes, will you do this? Keep close within your chamber. Hamlet returned shall know you are come home. Will put on those shall praise your excellence and set a double varnish on the fame the Frenchman gave you, bring you in fine together and wager on your heads. He, being remiss, most generous and free from all contriving, will not peruse the foils, so that with ease or with a little shuffling, you may choose a sod unbaited, and in a passive practice requite him for your father. I will dot, and for that purpose I'll anoint my sod. I bought an unction of a mountebank, so mottle that, but dip a knife in it, where it draws blood no cataplasm so rare, collected from all simples that have virtue under the moon, can save the thing from death that is but scratched withal. I'll touch my point with this contagion, that, if I gall him slightly, it may be death. Let's further think of this. Weigh what convenience both of time and means may fit us to our shape. If this should fail, and that our drift look through our bad performance, 'twere better not assayed. Therefore this project should have a back or second that might hold, if this should blast in proof. Soft, let me see, we'll make a solemn wager on your cunnings, I hat. When in your motion you are hot and dry, as make your bouts more violent to that end, and that he calls for drink, I'll have prepared him a chalice for the nonce, whereon but sipping, if he by chance escape your venomed stuck, our purpose may hold there. One woe doth tread upon another's heel, so fast they follow. Your sister's drowned, Laertes. There is a willow grows aslant a brook, that shows his haw leaves in the glassy stream. There with fantastic garlands did she come of crowflowers, nettles, daisies, and long purples that liberal shepherds give a grosser name, but our cold maids do dead men's fingers call them. There, on the pendant bows her coronet weeds clambering to hang, an envious sliver broke, when down her weedy trophies and herself fell in the weeping brook. Her clothes spread wide, and, mermaid-like, awhile they bore her up, which time she chanted snatches of old tunes, as one incapable of her own distress, all like a creature native and endued unto that element. But long it could not be till that her garments, heavy with their drink, pulled the poor wretch from her melodious lay to muddy death. Too much of what a haste thou, poor Ophelia, and therefore I forbid my tears. But yet it is our trick. Nature her custom holds, let shame say what it will. When these are gone, the woman will be out. Adieu, my lord, I have a speech of fire that fain would blaze, but that this folly doubts it. Exit. Let's follow, Gertrude, how much I had to do to calm his rage. Now fear I this will give it start again, therefore let's follow. Exeunt. Act V Scene a churchyard. Cudgel thy brains no more about it, for your dull ass will not mend his pace with beating, and when you are asked this question next, say a grave maker, the houses that he makes last till doomsday. Go, get thee to yon, fetch me a stoup of liquor. Exit second clown. He digs and sings. In youth when I did love, methought it was very sweet to contract, the time for, my behove, methought there was nothing meet. Sings, but age with his stealing steps hath clawed me in his clutch, and hath shipped me until the land, as if I had never been such. Throws up a skull. Sings, a pickaxe and a spade for and a shrouding sheet. Oh, a pit of clay for to be made for such a guest as meet. Throws up another skull. Mine, sir, sings, a pit of clay for to be made for such a guest as meet. No, faith, not a jot, but to follow him thither with modesty enough, and likelihood to lead it, as thus. Alexander died, Alexander was buried, Alexander returneth into dust. The dust is earth, of earth we make loam, and why of that loam, whereto he was converted, might they not stop a barrel? Imperious Caesar, dead and turned to clay, might stop a hole to keep the wind away. Oh, that earth, which kept the world in awe, should patch a wall to expel the winter flaw? But soft, aside. Here comes the king, the queen, the courtiers. Who is this they follow? And with such maimed rites? This doth betoken the cost they follow did with desperate hand follow its own life. 'Twas of some estate. Couch we a while, and mock, retiring with Horatio. That is Leitz, a very noble youth. Mock, her obsequies have been as far enlodged as we have warranty. Her death was doubtful, and but that great command osways the order, she should in ground unsanctified have lodged till the last trumpet. For charitable prayers, shods, flints, and pebbles should be thrown on her. Yet here she is allowed her virgin krantz, her maiden struments, and the bringing home of bell and burial. No more be done. We should profane the service of the dead to sing a requiem and such rest to her as to peace-spotted souls. Lay her eye the earth, and from her fair and unpolluted flesh may violets spring? I tell thee, churlish priest, a ministering angel shall my sister be, when thou least howling. Sweets to the sweet, farewell. Scattering flowers, I hope thou shouldst have been my Hamlet's wife. I thought thy bride bed to have decked, sweet maid, and not have strewed thy grave. Oh, treble woe fall 10 times treble on that cursed head, whose wicked deed thy most ingenious sense deprived thee of? Hold off the earth a while, till I have caught her once more in mine arms. Leaps into the grave. Now pile your dust upon the quick and dead, till of this flat a mountain you have made, to Autop old Pelion, or the skyish head of blue Olympus, advancing. What is he whose grief bears such an emphasis, whose phrase of sorrow conjures the wandering stars, and makes them stand like wonder-wounded heroes? This is I, Hamlet the Dane, leaps into the grave. Thou pray'st not well. I prithee, take thy fingers from my throat, for though I am not splenitive and rash, yet have I something in me dangerous, which let thy wiseness fear. Hold off thy hand. Why, I will fight with him upon this theme until my eyelids will no longer wag. I loved Ophelia. 40,000 brothers could not, with all their quantity of love, make up my sum. What wilt thou do for her? Swounds, show me what thou'lt do. Woot weep, woot fight, woot fast, woot tear thyself, woot drink up Isel, eat a crocodile, I'll dot. Dost thou come here to whine, to outface me with leaping in her grave? Be buried quick with her, and so will I, and, if thou prate of mountains, let them throw millions of acres on us, till our ground, singeing his pate against the burning zone, make Ossa like a wat. Nay, and thou'lt mouth, I'll rant as well as thou. This is mere madness, and thus awhile the fit will work on him. Anon, as patient as the female dove, when that her golden couplets are disclosed, his silence will sit drooping. Hear you, sir? What is the reason that you use me thus? I loved you ever, but it is no matter. Let Hercules himself do what he may, the cat will mew and dog will have his day. Exit, I pray you, good Horatio, wait upon him. Exit, Horatio. To Let's strengthen your patience in our last night's speech, will put the matter to the present push. Good Gertrude, set some watch over your son. This grave shall have a living monument, an hour of quiet shortly shall we see, till then, in patience our proceeding be. Exeunt, seen room into a hall in the castle. So much for this, sir. Now shall you see the other. You do remember all the circumstance. Sir, in my hot there was a kind of fighting that would not let me sleep. Methought I lay worse than the mutines in the bilboes. Rashly, and praised be rashness for it, let us know, our indiscretion sometimes serves us well, when our deep plots do pall, and that should teach us there's a divinity that shapes our ends, rough hew them how we will. Up from my cabin, my sea gowns scoffed about me, in the dock groped I to find out them. Had my desire, fingered their packet, and in fine withdrew to mine own room again, making so bold, my fears forgetting manners, to unseal their grand commission, where I found Horatio, O royal knavery, an exact command, lauded with many several sorts of reasons imparting Denmark's health and England's too, with such bugs and goblins in my life, that, on the supervise, no leisure baited, no, not to stay the grinding of the axe, my head should be struck off. Here's the commission, read it at more leisure. But wilt thou hear me how I did proceed? Being thus benetted round with villainies, ere I could make a prologue to my brains, they had begun the play. I sat me down, devised a new commission, wrote it fair. I once did hold it, as our statists do, a baseness to write fair, and labored much how to forget that learning, but, sir, now it did me yeoman's service. Wilt thou know the effect of what I wrote? An earnest conjuration from the king, as England was his faithful tributary, as love between them like the palm might flourish, as peace should still her wheaten garland wear and stand a comma tween their amities, and many such like, as ease of great charge, that, on the view and knowing of these contents, without debatement further, more or less, he should the bearers put to sudden death, not shriving time allowed. Why, even in that was heaven ordinate. I had my father's signet in my purse, which was the model of that Danish seal, folded the writ up in form of the other, subscribed it, gave the impression, placed it safely, the changeling never known. Now, the next day was our sea fight, and what to this was sequent thou know'st already. Why, man, they did make love to this employment, they are not near my conscience. Their defeat does by their own insinuation grow. 'Tis dangerous when the baser nature comes between the pass, and fell incensed points of mighty opposites. Does it not, think'st thee, stand me now upon, he that hath killed my king and hawed my mother, popped in between the election and my hopes, thrown out his angle for my proper life, and with such cozenage, is't not perfect conscience to quit him with this arm? And is't not to be damned, to let this canker of our nature come in further evil? It must be shortly known to him from England what is the issue of the business there. It will be shot, the interim is mine, and a man's life's no more than to say, one. But I am very sorry, good Horatio, that to Laertes I forgot myself, for by the image of my cause, I see the portraiture of his. I'll caught his favours, but sure the bravery of his grief did put me into a towering passion. Give me your pardon, sir, I've done you wrong, but pardon't, as you are a gentleman. This presence knows, and you must needs have heard, how I am punished with saw distraction. What I have done, that might your nature, honour and exception roughly awake, I here proclaim was madness. Wast Hamlet wronged Laertes? Never Hamlet. If Hamlet from himself be ta'en away, and when he's not himself does wrong Laertes, then Hamlet does it not, Hamlet denies it. Who does it then? His madness, if be so. Hamlet is of the faction that is wronged. His madness is poor Hamlet's enemy. Sir, in this audience, let my disclaiming from a purposed evil free me so far in your most generous thoughts, that I have shot mine arrow o'er the house, and hurt my brother. I am satisfied in nature, whose motive, in this case, should stir me most to my revenge, but in my terms of honour I stand aloof, and will know reconcilement till by some elder masters of known honour. I have a voice and precedent of peace to keep my name ungod, but till that time, I do receive your offered love like love, and will not wrong it. I embrace it freely, and will this brother's wager frankly play. Give us the foils, come on. I'll be your foil, Laertes. In mine ignorance your skill shall, like a star eye the darkest night, stick fiery off indeed. Give them the foils, young Osric. Cousin Hamlet, you know the wager? Very well, my lord. Your grace hath laid the odds o' the weak aside. I do not fear it, I have seen you both. But since he is betted, we have therefore odds. Set me the stoups of wine upon that table. If Hamlet give the first or second hit, I'll quit in answer of the third exchange. Let all the battlements their ordnance fire. The king shall drink to Hamlet's bet a breath, and in the cup and union shall he throw, richer than that which far successive kings in Denmark's crown have won. Give me the cups, and let the kettle to the trumpet speak, the trumpet to the cannoneer without, the cannons to the heavens to earth. Now the king drinks to Hamlet. Come begin, and you the judges bear a wary eye. Stay, give me drink. Hamlet, this pearl is thine, here's to thy health. Trumpets sound and cannon shut off within. Give him the cup, he's fat and scant of breath. Here, Hamlet, take my napkin, rub thy brows. The queen carouses to thy fortune, Hamlet. Come for the third. Laertes, you but dally, I pray you, pass with your best violence, I am afeard you make a wanton of me. Why, as a woodcock to mine own springe, Osric, I am justly killed with mine own treachery. No, no, the drink, oh my dear Hamlet, the drink, I am poisoned, dies, oh villainy, ho, let the door be locked, treachery, seek it out. It is here, Hamlet, thou art slain. No medicine in the world can do thee good, in thee there is not half an hour of life. The treacherous instrument is in thy hand, unbaited and envenomed. The foul practice hath turned itself on me. Lo, here I lie, never to rise again. Thy mother's poisoned. I can no more. The king's to blame. The point envenomed too, then venom to thy work. Stabs the king. Here, thou incestuous, murderous, damned Dane, drink off this potion. Is thy union here? Follow my mother. King dies. He is justly served, it is a poison tempered by himself. Exchange forgiveness with me, noble Hamlet. Mine and my father's death come not upon thee, nor thine on me. Dies, heaven make thee free of it, I follow thee. I am dead, Horatio. Wretched queen, adieu. You that look pale and tremble at this chance, that are but mutes or audience to this act, had I but time, as this fell sergeant, death, is strict in his arrest, oh, I could tell you. But let it be. Horatio, I am dead, thou livest. Repot me and my cause a right to the unsatisfied. Never believe it, I am more an antique Roman than a Dane, here's yet some liquor left. As thou art a man, give me the cup, let go, by heaven, I'll haved. O good Horatio, what a wounded name, things standing thus unknown shall live behind me? If thou didst ever hold me in thy heart, absent thee from felicity a while, and in this harsh world draw thy breath in pain to tell my story. March afar off and shut within. What warlike noise is this? Young Fortinbras with conquest come from Poland, to the ambassadors of England gives this warlike volley. Oh, I die, Horatio, the potent poison quite outcrows my spirit. I cannot live to hear the news from England, but I do prophesy the election lights on Fortinbras. He has my dying voice, so tell him with the occurrence more and less which have solicited. The rest is silence, dies, now cracks a noble heart. Good night, sweet prince, and flights of angels sing thee to thy rest. Why does the drum come hither? March within. What is it you would see? If aught of woe or wonder, cease your search. This quarry cries on havoc. O proud death, what feast is toward in thine eternal cell, that thou so many princes at a shot so bloodily haste struck? The sight is dismal, and our affairs from England come too late. The ears are senseless that should give us hearing, to tell him his commandment is fulfilled, that Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Where should we have our thanks? Not from his mouth, had it the ability of life to thank you. He never gave commandment for their death. But since, so jump upon this bloody question, you from the Polack wars, and you from England, are here arrived give order that these bodies high on a stage be placed to the view, and let me speak to the yet unknowing world how these things came about. So shall you hear of carnal, bloody, and unnatural acts, of accidental judgments, casual slaughters, of deaths put on by cunning and fast cause, and in this upshot, purposes mistook fallen on the inventors' heads. All this can I truly deliver. Let us haste to hear it, and call the noblest to the audience. For me, with sorrow I embrace my fortune. I have some rights of memory in this kingdom, which now to claim my vantage doth invite me. Of that I shall have also cause to speak, and from his mouth whose voice will draw on maw. But let this same be presently performed, even while men's minds are wild, lest more mischance, on plots and errors, happen. Let far captains bear Hamlet like a soldier to the stage, for he was likely, had he been put on, to have proved most royally, and for his passage the soldier's music and the rights of war speak loudly for him. Take up the bodies, such a sight as this becomes the field, but here shows much amiss. Go, bid the soldiers shoot, a dead march, exeunt, bearing off the dead bodies, after which a peal of ordnance is shot off. Call and Hamlet was published in 1600 by William Shakespeare. This ebook was produced for Standard eBooks by Emma Sweeney, and is based on a transcription produced in 1993 by Jeremy Hilton for the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and on digital scans from the Hathai Trust Digital Library. Emendations to the text are provided by Open Source Shakespeare. The cover page is adapted from Ophelia, a painting completed in 1851 by John Everett Millay. The cover and title pages feature the League Spartan and Sots Mill Gaudy typefaces created in 2014 and 2009 by the League of Movable Type. This edition was released on July 8, 2025, 6:53 p.m., and is based on Revision BAF 5B37. The first edition of this ebook was released on February 16, 2021, 6:26 p.m. You can check for updates to this ebook, view its revision history, or download it for different e-reading systems at standardbooksorg/ebooks/William Shakespeare/Hamlet. The volunteer-driven Standard eBooks project relies on readers like you to submit typos, corrections, and other improvements. Anyone can contribute at Standard Booksorg. Dramatis Personae Claudius, King of Denmark Hamlet, son to the late and nephew to the present King Polonius, Lord Chamberlain Horatio, friend to Hamlet Laertes, son to Polonius Voltimand, Courtier Cornelius, Courtier Rosencrantz, Courtier Guildenstern, Courtier Osric, Courtier a gentleman, Courtier a priest Marcellus, Officer Bernardo, Officer Francisco, a soldier Reynaldo, servant to Polonius players two clowns, gravediggers Fortinbras, Prince of Norway, a captain English ambassadors Gertrude, Queen of Denmark, and mother to Hamlet Ophelia, daughter to Polonius lords, ladies, officers, soldiers, sailors, messengers, and other attendants ghost of Hamlet's father seen. Denmark. In notes in an effort to create a complete form of Hamlet, William George Clark and William Aldies write combined parts of Hamlet from both the second quarto and first folio. This portion of dialogue originates from the second quarto, but the verse line is missing a word. The printing of the second quarto skips a word, making the line read, "And either the devil, or throw him out." Shakespeare's original intent has been lost, and modern scholars have a variety of theories on what it might have been. Scholars have proposed master as a possible emendation. Other guesses made by scholars include curb, lodge, reign, and seize. Emma Sweeney Wright. Here we encounter another complication due to combining two versions of Hamlet. In the first folio, the text is missing almost 4 lines of verse. These lines have been restored from the second quarto, but the print was not perfect. A portion of a verse line was not completed. Scholars have proposed "so haply slander" as a possible emendation. Another guess made by scholars is "so dreaded slander." Emma Sweeney Wright.